This is the step in quantum leaping where you become very aware of what is in between you and the reality you are jumping to. Once you're in step 3 of quantum leaping, you can no longer look back at your old reality as being enough, as being okay, as being the reality that you desire and deserve. I'm Alyssa, and I remind you that this timeline is optional. We are talking about my 8 steps in quantum leaping. Number 3 is awareness and identity shift. If you missed 1 and 2, I will link them in the show notes. However, step 1 in quantum leaping is a desire. It's a desire for another reality. It's where you become discontented with something in your life. You have a desire that something in your life could be better because there's a version of you on another timeline already living out that desire. Step number 2 is decision. This is where you decide that this is the reality you're jumping to. This is where the law of assumption comes into place. This is where you say, I deserve to have what it is that I'm desiring, and I'm just deciding that I'm jumping to this reality. Step number 3 is awareness and identity shift. Step number 3 is where you start seeing cracks in your current life because you have a desire for something better. You have been feeling that pull of another version of you on another timeline, and your soul is telling you that this is possible. Once you've made the decision to have that in your life, step 3 can get a little tricky because you are super aware of everything that is not in alignment with the timeline that you are jumping to. Things become energetically unbearable, things that are no longer in alignment with the version of you that you're becoming. But here's the catch: you haven't fully become that version of yourself yet. So you are still existing in that other reality where certain people that are around you might not be in alignment, places that you're in are not in alignment, even decisions you're making are not in alignment with the version of you that you're jumping to. This showed up for me when I was in a relationship that at one time was my best relationship, but when I was having dreams about a parallel timeline that I'm living in now, and I knew that this wasn't the reality I wanted to live in anymore. I didn't want to live in this city anymore. I didn't want to live with these people anymore. I felt that I could have a better relationship, a better home life, better everything. Everything got unbearable. I was trying to fix so much the timeline that I was in, and once I realized that I had to let it go, it was because I was aware that who I was being, the vibration I was emitting, and everything around me, my soul had outgrown in a sense. My soul was desiring a different timeline. And so, because I hadn't yet arrived on that timeline, the things that were still in my life became unbearable. This is the period where you do start making different decisions. You do start acting more in alignment with the version of you that you're jumping to, but you're not quite in the embodiment phase. You're not holding the frequency long enough to, you're not holding the vibrational frequency long enough. You're not even really holding the vibrational frequency. You're just aware that there's a different vibrational frequency where the version of you that's living on the timeline you want to live in is living. You are aware that you need to do things to shift your identity. You need to do things to shift your vibration. You need to, in a sense, become a new version of yourself to live on that timeline. And so the fact that you're aware, it's kind of like we all have a base vibration. Whatever your base vibration is kind of how your life feels. But it's kind of like a fish swimming in the water. We're so used to how our life feels that when we're okay with being at a certain level of wealth, a certain level of relationship, a certain level of health, maybe it was okay at a period in our life. And so we're fine just swimming in the water. Once you become aware of the desire that there's a possibility for you to have more in your life, for you to live in a different vibrational frequency, for you to have a greater life experience, where you are becomes unbearable. And what's weird is it's the same as it's always been. It's just that you have outgrown the fishbowl that you're in. So things become very uncomfortable, but you're still in the fishbowl. You haven't jumped to the new bowl yet. So it's just this space where you start to become aware of everything that's not in alignment with the version of you that you're jumping to. You start to make different decisions because you start to want different things in your life. But maybe you haven't fully embraced the idea that you can truly live in this reality, or maybe the steps for you to get there haven't quite shown up yet. One of the things in the new timeline that I jumped to is living near the beach. So I was living in a city that I really hated. When I was in step 3 of awareness, I didn't quite move to my beach city. I didn't move to the reality I live in now. I didn't jump that far. I had like a bridge jump. I made decisions that was basically like, I don't like this city. I'm going to move cities. I'm not feeling great in this relationship. I'm going to end the relationship. I didn't go from that to the timeline that I'm in now, but I had to take those steps in order to work my way up vibrationally to the life I'm living now. Step three is when you start to realize that your identity does not match the identity of the version of you living on that timeline that you are jumping to. And we need to match our identity and our vibrational frequency with that version of ourselves in order to jump timelines. So, this is part of the process. You're going to go through it. And it's really just about becoming aware of what is not fitting in your life anymore. And that's kind of what the universe is telling you. You have to let go of these things. You have to release certain things. You have to make different decisions in order to be more in alignment with the version of you that's living on that other timeline. I also mentioned that you might have like identity glitches. It's because you're not fully embodied in that new version of you, but you're also not your old self. So you might make different decisions, but then find yourself falling back into old patterns because you're still trying to find your way. What's important about step three is it's just really about becoming aware of what is out of alignment between the reality that you're jumping to and the reality that you're in. Remember, in order to quantum leap, we have to change our thoughts, feelings, vibrations, identity, and behaviors to match the version of us that's already living on that timeline. Those things have to match up so that you can raise your frequency to exist in that reality. So in this phase, just start to become aware of what feels uncomfortable, of things that the version of you that's living in that reality with their dream person, in their dream home, with their dream career, what would they not be, I guess tolerating is kind of a strong word, but what would they not be tolerating anymore? What would they not bring with them into that reality? What is not even in that reality with them because it's just not a vibrational match? Our life is an outward expression of what we are a vibrational match to. And when you're consciously raising your vibration in order to quantum leap, this is where you're going to begin to become aware of what you need to let go of in order to jump. And the next step, step four, is where you actually do the releasing. Clearing and collapsing is step four. So part of that is going to be releasing things in the physical sense, like relationships, objects in your home, but it's also clearing and collapsing limiting beliefs and identities and vibrations that are not in alignment with the version of you that lives on that other timeline. So become aware of what is in your reality that feels like it is not a vibrational match anymore. What used to be okay and now is unbearable. That is showing you what you need to release in step four. And again, this is not just people, places, and things, it's also thoughts and beliefs about reality and yourself. Next week, we will go into step four. Much love. Remember, this timeline is optional.